Good morning, and thanks for joining us today. I'm Carlos Phillips, President and CEO of the Greenville Chamber. We host these Community Matters discussions every week to connect you with local, state, and national leaders. You can find past recordings as well as the upcoming Community Matters schedule at greenvillechamber.org. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started. All attendees should be on mute with their cameras turned off. You'll also have the opportunity to submit questions through the chat feature. As questions arise, please go ahead and share in the chat, but we will wait and take all questions at the end of today's program. Before we get started this morning, I would like to take a moment to thank Spectrum Reach for their generous sponsorship of today's program. Here this morning to share a few words is Allie Haley, local sales manager with Spectrum Reach. Allie?
Thank you so much. It is really an honor to be with you today and to represent a company that is committed to helping small and medium businesses survive and indeed thrive during these challenging times. Spectrum Reach provides scalable TV and digital advertising and marketing solutions that can help to grow a business by reaching the right customers through data, innovation, and creative, all of which are driven by insightful research to understand consumer behavior. You may know that Spectrum Reach was just voted America's most trusted media partner by the Myers Report 2020. And as such, Spectrum is committed to deliver on promises to provide insights, resources, and custom solutions. As our communities begin to reopen, Spectrum Reach is fully invested with helping businesses rebuild.
Thanks, Allie. We appreciate Spectrum Reach and your support of this program. We'll place a link where all attendees can learn more in the chat. Today, I'm excited to talk about what the Visit Greenville SC team is cooking up with Chris Stone. Chris is the president of Visit Greenville SC. Welcome to Community Matters, Chris.
Thanks so much, Carlos, for having me and the opportunity to share more about Visit Greenville SC and certainly these challenging times in the hospitality industry. Next slide. I love this shot of the bridge. People conversing, cyclists, folks walking across the bridge, the water, the rocks, the green, the changing colors of the trees. You know, Greenville's such a great stroll. We're an easy and safe place to be. And it's all surrounded by the warm and friendly faces of all of us who live here. And a reminder of what a special place we have, you know, our urban oasis and mountain natural wonders, from Main Street to the Swamp Rabbit Trail, to Traveler's Rest, to Mountain Bridge Wilderness. We've got quite a place, and during these tough times, it's a reminder of how our special place will continue to be special once we begin to open up even further. Next slide. You know, there's so many positive attributes about travel, and I think sometimes we get caught up in just the economics. And so I wanted to begin today by talking about those things of why travel is so great for us. And I have 5 favorites myself. Number one, it connects us human to human. Gives us a chance to be connected with other people. It creates lifelong memories. No doubt all of us have those. Travel teaches and enlightens and inspires us, especially on really special places that we go. And then especially with business travel, the chance to be with colleagues and others, you know, it stimulates innovation and nurtures progress. And then the last thing on my list is something that we all look forward to, and that's putting travel out on your calendar, giving you something to look forward to, reminding you about special memories that you're going to create. And so, you know, during these times when we can't travel as much, it reminds us of the beauty of travel. Next slide. As it relates to travel and visitors to Greenville, you know, this slide is a reminder of what's been created. It was Tommy Weish Max Heller, Buck Mickle back in the 70s that helped shape an award-winning Main Street, focused over the years, not really on visitors, but the simple notion of creating a place, creating an environment for us as citizens. You know, years ago, we believed that to be in a destination that was special required us to travel elsewhere. It never occurred to us at the time that we would become the place that is seen as special. So in the past couple of months, boy, we're really missing these visitors all across our community for the vibrancy and the commerce that they bring to place. And hopefully soon enough, we'll eagerly welcome back the strollers, the adventurers, the photographers, and the foodies that love our place so much. Next slide. VisitGreenvilleSC is the business name that's on our front door, but most of you know us by our brand, Yeah, That Greenville. You know, the core insight in creating that brand came from all of you, as noted by the research finding, wherever happy people gather, there must be something good going on. Yeah, that Greenville. We're in the economic development business, representing both the county and the city, and stand alongside the Chamber of Commerce, the Greenville Area Development Corporation, and the Upstate Alliance, all as successful business promoters. Our work consists of travel promotion strategy targeted on groups. So think of them as meetings, seminars, conventions, trade shows, or premium events like the NCAA, and the leisure market, those people who are looking at getaway travel. Our job is to motivate and secure overnight travel to Greenville. We don't really care what hotel or restaurant or retail that people patronize. What we care about is just that they come here, have a great time, spend some money, and go home and tell everybody else what a great travel experience Greenville is. Next slide. The Yeah, That Greenville brand was initiated in 2012. So this slide gives us a view of hotel occupancy from 2011 through 2019. In 2012, we started with a small promotional spend of $100,000 and worked our way to a $2 million spend. And then the last couple of years, we've been spending about $4 million promoting Greenville in the outer market, telling people about our attributes. Think of the weekday results as a reflection of business travel and group travel, and think of the weekend labels here as mostly the leisure getaway travel. You can see the kind of progress that's been made over the years. Next slide. As we launched the Yeah, That Greenville brand in 2012, having others say good things about us was a very purposeful strategy. As we started, we worked hard at attracting attention and getting travel influencers to talk with us. And in the beginning, you know of our struggles. Greenville what, Greenville where, Greenville why. But persistence in pitching paid off. And it really didn't take that long before we had good things being said by influencers. First one, then 3, then 5. And so over the years, the stories and the fantastic copy has been falling our way ever since. You know, it is true that the press loves a new kid to talk about, but you have to remember that that new kid also has to have some intriguing stories and angles and offerings. And so then that's been a big part of the spread of the story. The travel communicators on the slide, so from the left, Forbes, Condé Nast, Today, Matador, Expedia, are not accidental. These are examples of relationships that we've built over time. We know them, they know us, stories take place. And we're always constantly working on new angles to promote our community. Next slide. 5.5 million visitors. Well, if you break it down by 365 days in the year, that equates to 15,000 visitors amongst us each and every single day. Conducting business, seeing family and friends, attending a group event, or maybe just passing through on the highway. Their travel supports jobs, their travel helps crank our economy, and these visitors and their spending supports so many of our great quality of life attributes. Next slide. Tourism is the #2 business in the US. It's the #1 business in South Carolina. So what are some of the great results in those visiting Greenville? Well, you can see them on the slide here. That $1.3 billion in economic impact helps to support small business. That small business, in our case, looks like hotels, restaurants, retailers, attractions, and that equates back to about 11,000 hospitality jobs worth $286 million in wages and salaries. So really significant across our entire community. Next slide. So has the advertising been working? Has the brand been working? Are the travel articles on Greenville motivating people to come? Is the solicitation of group meetings and conventions garnering greater results? Well, what this slide shows is the growth of hotel tax in both city and county. And as you see, back in 2011, the number has virtually doubled from 3 million in 11 to about 6 million in 2019. So it's been quite a dramatic in an upward way. Next slide. Another key performance indicator would be hospitality tax. That's the tax on food and beverage. And you can see that number rose about 57%, again, between that time period of 2011 to 2019. Now this tax is true, it takes in mostly citizens, but the visitor also plays a really important part of this spend. About 30% of restaurant sales come from the visitor. So they make quite a sizable contribution, both in terms of the individual restaurant spend and to the overall tax base. This tax revenue has helped us pay for Falls Park, the zoo, the Swamp Rabbit Trail, and many other community parks and recreation assets. Next slide. So let's talk specifically about the COVID impact. So on the left-hand side here, we take a look at what hotel occupancy is normally been this time of year. Normally runs about 75%. And that occupancy is made up of business travelers, which is about 40%, group travel, which is about 20%, and leisure travel, which is another 40% of our occupancy. Go ahead and build the next piece. What's happening today, by no one's surprise, is business travel has virtually been halted. Group travel, many of our groups in the spring pushed to this fall of 20, and now we're seeing people push into 21. And then the leisure travel has also been slow to come back. And so hotel occupancy, which is normally 75%, has been around the 25 to 35% range. So what are we losing? Well, we're losing every day about 7,000 visitors. And that spending at 1.8 million a day translates to about 54 million a month and about $1 million in tax losses on a monthly basis. So it's significant. And I know that all of you are feeling that as well. Next slide. So this slide gives you a picture, a view again of that occupancy, hotel occupancy. So on the left-hand side is occupancy percent. So you see at the bottom left, 20%, 30%, 40%, and so on and so forth. On the bottom of the slide, you see the dates. So we started this slightly before COVID started. So we have a March 7th, but it takes us through the end of May. The top blue line is the occupancy of Greenville in 2019. So you can see week by week by week what that hotel occupancy was, and you can see that high of 81% in early April. On the bottom of the slide, so the neon green line is Greenville 2020. In addition to the Greenville line, you see the United States line in red, you see the South Atlantic in purple, you see South Carolina in the light blue, which is all pretty much mirroring the same thing, which is showing in Greenville, we bottomed out at about 25%. Now, if you said, well, where'd that 25% come from? Remember that people were still traveling mostly along the highway. So properties along the interstate still saw some occupancy even at this low time. And the good news for us is that we're not going further down. We're beginning to climb back, but we would still see a lot of that occupancy taking place along the interstate. So this gives you a comparison, 2019 on top, 2020 on the bottom. Next slide. So there is one certainty that we definitely have in our business, and that is that people will travel again. But it's going to take some time. We've got to work our way through the pandemic. And the timing of travel is shifting day to day and heavily influenced by the rising and falling of the COVID numbers and the perceptions of travel safety as compared to destination to destination. There's a fairly sizable amount of information and intelligence that's formulating thoughts and strategies about where and who we would solicit as our short-term visitor. As I said before, business travel has been at a standstill. Groups have postponed their meetings. And so as it turns out, it's the adventurous leisure getaway traveler from the surrounding 3 to 4 hour drive market that will lead the comeback. So why will they travel? Well, many of them will want to see family and friends that they've been cut off from. Some will want to make up for lost celebrations, canceled vacations, and weekend getaways. And some will just be the eagerness of getting away and out of their confining living quarters, even though it's just for a few hours. And then what will get them to book? So what will get commitment, I think, largely will be trust. And the trust has to do in the suppliers within the destination. So for us, it's the trust of hotels, restaurants, and retailers. And then overall, the trust that the destination is trending as safe. Next slide. And what are travelers looking for most? You know, there's 5 motivators that seem to be focused on travel these days. Number 1 is an easy drive in my personal car. A second is a spot that has plenty of outdoor space to be out and about. The third would be a destination that's smaller and less crowded, a place that checks out safe. The fourth would be a familiar place that I can trust. Maybe it's a place that I've been there before. And lastly, a place where I can stretch my dollar and find a good value. And so Greenville, as you all know, matches up well with each of those. Regarding an easy drive, We have 26 million residents that live within a 3 to 4 hour radius in the states of South Carolina, Georgia, and North Carolina. It's true that many of those are hunkering down, but it's also true that some are looking for a place to go. People are looking for a high quality urban and outdoor experience, and we have that. We have a quality urban experience, and we're well connected to outdoor hikes, lakes, fishing. Those are in our sweet spot. It's true Greenville's less crowded and smaller, but we're a place that's trending in the wrong way on COVID. So we've got to get better at bringing our own cases down in order to be seen as a place that would be safe. Familiar, trusted, this will be the keystone of what we do with our strategy. We'll be targeting those who have been here, who know us, who know that they can come and have a great time. And of course, the value piece is right up Greenville's alley. People can come here, have a great time, and not have to blow their wallet. Next slide. So what's most on our minds? What's most on our minds is bringing customers to spend money at Greenville's small businesses. You know, it's true, every small business needs money, but more importantly, it needs buying customers. And as the saying goes, nothing happens until someone sells something. As our businesses are doing their part to safely open, when the timing is right, we're anxious to do our part in delivering customers. Next slide. Given the challenge of the circumstance, it's our responsibility to stand up to leadership's ask. Sanitize, wash our hands, socially distance ourselves, and wearing a mask. Signing the Greenville Pledge is a commitment that you and your business needs to step up to. And today, you should join along with 600 others who have pledged to do their part to create a safe customer experience. And through the good work of the Chamber, Greenville Area Development Corporation, the city, and the county, they've made it easier to sign up. So go to thegreatergreenvillepledge.com and get yourself signed up. Next slide. Over the years, the major reason visitation has worked so well in Greenville is because of you, our ambassadors. It's your cheerleading and your enthusiasm of your own hometown that's led the way. You're the ones who served as community hosts to so many of your friends, family, colleagues over the years. 97% of visitors who come here recommend a trip to Greenville, and they say that because 100% of the time you do such a great job as tour guide. So thank you for your ambassadorship, and thank you in advance for soon inviting a friend or a family member for a visit. Next slide. So in summing things up, visit GreenvilleSC. You know us most by our brand. Yeah, that Greenville is an economic development organization, and we deliver upon an essential travel promotion strategy. Why will people continue to come here, and why are we optimistic about the coming months ahead? Because we should be seen, we could be seen, we have to be seen as a safe place to come and a place that has a lot of outdoor elements, whether that's strolling the main street or getting up on the Swamp Rabbit Trail and going to our mountains. We're a terrific spot to do that. The loss is killing us. You know, the loss of 7,000 visitors a day, you know, really hurts. So our industry is in a crisis moment that we are desperately trying to get out of. And finally, you know, do your part. Sign the pledge, invite people to come to Greenville, And maybe one of the most important things I could tell you is that I hope in the coming months that you yourself have a chance to get out, get on a road trip yourself, go somewhere else, see somebody else. It's healthy for the soul and mind. So Carlos, thanks for having me today, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have or have been written in.
Well, Chris, thank you. A lot of great information there. You know, the Visit Greenville has had a marvelous impact on our community. So thank you for sharing that information. I do want to encourage the participants to submit questions via the chat feature there on your screen. We'd love to answer your questions. But until you do so, I do have a couple of questions for you, Chris. So Greenville is appearing on a lot of top 10 lists. Why has that been so important for our community?
I think the exposure for us has been terrific, not only from a visitor standpoint, but from a broader economic development standpoint. So we're not only making impact on people who are looking to come here and spend the weekend, we're making impact on those people that are looking perhaps to start an entrepreneurial career here. Those people that might be looking at moving a business. And so the chance to be put in the consideration set. Again, you can't get chosen unless you're under consideration. And that all starts with a visitation. So the chance for people to come here to learn more about us, you know, the public relations that we've had a chance to get from a variety of influencers out in the marketplace has just been fantastic, including lately the Today Show did a story on us. We had a write-up in Martha Stewart. We had a write-up in Essence magazine. So the public relations part has been the backbone of our success.
Good. And one of the things I admire most about Visit Greenville SC and the Yeah That Greenville brand is the pipeline that you've built up. I mean, we've got a nation now of people who Greenville is on their top 10 list of things to do. So when things recover, Greenville is more top of mind than many other communities in terms of how we'll return, how we'll get back to our previous tourism activity.
You know, Carlos, I think what's not well understood is the power and punch that we have in the outer markets. So again, we've been spending about $4 million a year telling the Greenville story outside of this market. And again, that makes a huge difference for us as we are trying to communicate with our targets, whether it's a visitor, whether it's a site selector, whether it's a talent recruitment piece and trying to get people to move here to be a part of our economy. You know, it's important, and it's an opportunity to leverage the brand to make it work even harder for us as we're coming out of this impact.
Chris, is there anything else that we can be doing here in Greenville to make us more attractive for tourists?
You know, I'm glad that you asked that, and I think the answer to that question is right now. So right now, we have got to bring our COVID numbers down. We have got to listen to those who are telling us what they'd like us to do. So back to social distancing, continue to wash hands. And I think the most important thing right now is wearing the mask. And if all of us would work at it, if all of us would do our part, this would be terrifically helpful in terms of our own businesses getting back to business, but also in our industry, you know, getting Greenville in a safe spot so we could become a place where people would come and visit us.
Good. That is so, that is so important. I think we all see, how Greenville is currently reflected, in the press, which is not very flattering.
Right.
But if I could say one thing and encourage Greenville residents, and that is, practicing social distancing and the sanitizing, the high touch areas and wearing your face mask and what have you, it's going to lead to a quicker and
Right.
more robust economic recovery.
Right.
And I think we're at a situation, we're at a point where we need to take one for the team, just to coin an old athletic term. If we can practice those recommendations to be safe and healthy, we're going to rebound quicker and more effectively than those that don't.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Didn't want to sound preachy, but I do want to end on a more positive note. I was visiting with some friends in the Charlotte area a couple of weekends ago, and without any provocation from me, there were folks in the group who talked about, I can't wait to visit Greenville. And they talked about, they seemed to know more about Greenville's downtown than I did. But they were very enthusiastic about not hopping on a plane and going to California or going down to Florida, but taking a quick trip to Greenville. And that made me feel good. But then it also reinforced a great job that you and the Visit Greenville SC team has done in building the brand, which again, as we come out of this pandemic, it will really reap significant benefits, I think, for our community.
Greenville has such a growing, great reputation. People think very highly of our area. And so again, let's step to this. Let's lower our numbers. Let's worry about ourselves. Let's get ourselves in really good shape, and that will open up some nice opportunities for us, and we can get moving again. Thank you, Carlos.
Thank you. I try to recommend my friends to stay at Chateau de Phillips, but they insisted they wanted to stay at a more reputable and recognizable brand downtown. So hopefully they can help increase the activity once we get things going.
Exactly. All your friends need a good hotel room. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Good deal. Well, I'll tell you what, we've taken a few questions and you've provided some great information today. So we're going to wrap up today's show. Again, I want to thank our sponsor, Spectrum Reach. Don't forget that you can learn more at the link that is located in the chat. And Chris, I want to thank you for joining us today. I mean, you shared a lot of great information and shared a lot of potential that's ahead for Greenville, provided that we govern ourselves effectively and come out of this pandemic in a great way. So thank you for joining us today.
We can do it together. We can do it.
We can, and we will.
That's right.
Good deal. I want to thank all the attendees for joining us today too. A recording of today's program will be shared on the Greenville Chamber's website and sent to attendees along with a survey. Now, don't forget that this is part of an ongoing series. We'll take a break next Tuesday for the 4th of July weekend, but we will return on Tuesday, July 14th for an arts and culture update. Now, before we part today, I want to use this platform to quickly share an important reminder. We are still battling COVID-19, so please don't forget to do your part. Wear your mask, wash your hands, and social distance. Better community health will lead to a more robust economic recovery. Everybody have a great day, and happy Independence Day to everyone.